So 343 today we're going to be talking about Anze Kopitar, his final season in the NHL. It's upcoming, as he just announced today. It's going to be an interesting situation with how everything plays out for LA long term. And I think this whole thing is luckily LA's in a smoother transition where when they don't have Kopitar, they still have Quentin Byfield who can fill in that first line center void and then can have to know. So luckily they're in a situation where they can replace him a little bit easier, I would say. And especially in situations where sometimes these guys leave and they transition out of the league and then they don't have the teams don't have the depth to be able to fill that void. But luckily LA has the ability to do so. And I think they're going to rely on Quentin Byfield a little bit more now. And with Kopitar, he just had a very historic career, played his whole career out with the LA Kings. He's going to be a guy he's just going to be able to make an impact in so many different key ways and has done so throughout his career, winning the Selkie and being able to be that guy, driving control offensively, defensively, in many different ways. He's been reliable for a very long time as part of their center core. A guy who was never really the fastest player, but he always seemed to find ways to make plays, and more of a power forward like center, and always brought that intriguing ability about him where he can make plays under duress, score goals, can make impact plays, and just take over the game in certain situations. And I think with him leaving, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but like I said, more of a smooth transition to the next era for the LA Kings. And luckily, they have those core pieces around him. And without him, they're going to have quite a younger team, I would say. So it's going to be interesting to see how the whole situation plays out there and how everything transpires with him and how long term everything transpires with how the Kings can continue to grow within their development model and how they can continue to potentially get better over the course of time too. And you might even just see bigger things coming for Quentin Byfield. And I think that's going to be interesting to watch. You might see him evolve into more of a 90, 100 point guy without Kopitar. And I think this could be something that's very beneficial for Byfield in terms of his playing and just his development long term. It's a good time for him to transition into that role. I think we've seen him take major steps forward too. It'll be interesting, but with Kopitar, just a guy you relied upon so long with the Kings, and he's been a guy for so many years that has been so impactful to the organization ever since he was drafted. It's just continued to get better, continued to blossom, has continued to make his own marks within the game of hockey and also at the international level. And being a guy from Slovenia, which is rare to see too, it's so cool to see where things go with him long term. If he can't work with the Kings, just everything that transpires. He's always been a guy you can rely upon in many key situations, offensively, defensively. Yeah, count on before regularly been a guy who can produce 50, 60, 70 points. Just been stable for so long defensively, being able to shut guys down, playing against the top matchups, and being able to be that impact forward for a very long time. It's something that's very hard to do in the modern day NHL, and he's still found a way to make an impact. So I'm sure this last year is going to be one of his better years of his career. I would imagine. I just think he still has tactical components in his game where he can make an impact. He can make that smooth offensive transitions to be able to make plays and be able to make impactful ones. He's still fun to watch at this age too. He's around 37 or 38, but he still plays like he's very young in the league. He's played for such a long time. Has been such a complete player for a very long time too. So it's been fun to watch. He's been a guy that over the years I've watched a ton, given that he's been the Western Conference playing in Chicago for a very long time. I've seen a lot of him, seen a lot of his game. It's just make that impact for a very long time. So it's gonna be weird without Kopitar in the lineup after next season for the Kings, but I'm sure they're gonna be fine and they're gonna have players who can, like I said, fill that void and be able to make that impact long term too. So it's going to be interesting to see how the everything plays out with that long term as well.